Hey, so it's late here. I was just at a bonfire with friends and I got a little triggered by someone, and I thought that maybe I'd make a video to show you what I do with when I'm triggered, because it doesn't happen that often, because I don't really care about a lot of what other people care about. But um, so as a renegade yogi, the whole deal is that I don't expect my life to be perfect. You know, um, but I put my spirit in charge of my life, and I allow my spirit to be the one calling the shots, not my ego mind. So it doesn't mean I'm never going to get triggered again. It just means, obviously, because I was, but it means that when I do get triggered, I use it as an opportunity to get some inner work done. Okay, so I don't make too much drama out of it, but basically, by holding the principles of, I bless you, I forgive you, I respect your free will choices, and I love you in my mind at all times, and then I hold the same for myself. And then also, in a spirit directed life, I trust that everything is happening for me, not to me. So what this helps me do is every situation is basically like a classroom. So I trust that my soul has set up these lessons for me to learn. And so I don't expect other human beings to follow the script that I'm writing for them in my head and to always keep me happy and put my happiness first. Okay, that being said, and then I allow that. I allow them to piss me off. So in this situation, it's going to probably sound stupid to you guys, but triggered is triggered. And so I used to be an airline pilot for United, and I lost my job 3303. And by the time they called me back, I was pregnant, and I deferred. And then and then the second time they call you back, it's like now or never. And I had a new baby, and I wasn't going to leave him because it doesn't really matter. But the thing is, I lived with my husband and my son in Redding, Connecticut, and I would have had to go be on reserve, which means I would have basically had to live in Chicago, and I would have had to pay a nanny to raise my baby. So I would have been gone almost all month. So I would only be able to get like a couple days, 3 days, 4 days, maximum a month at home. Because the way reserve would work, it's you're on for some days and then you're off for like 1 or 2, and you can't always get home, depending on when your reserve starts and ends. And reserve days are longer than days with an actual trip. Okay. So after I lost my job, I went to work for what's called a fractional jet company, and it was an unsafe operation because they flew us so much. So you're supposed to, and they when I signed up for the job, they said that it was going to be a Part 135. So I know this is like, I'm trying to just go bare bones here with the information that I'm giving, just so you have a background of what happened, so you can understand where I'm coming from. In aviation, when you're paid as a pilot, there's different parts that you operate under, and the one that the company that hired me said they operated under was Part 135. The basic minimums, just for your understanding, is you have a 14-hour duty day. Yes, I said duty. 14-hour duty day, and then you rest 10 hours. Okay, and so it was supposed to be 7 on, 7 off, but it was really like, it was always at least 9 on and then like 4 off, and then you'd be leaving the parking lot, and it'd be 9 on again. It was like I was always 9 on, and then I would be trying to leave the parking lot to go see my grandmother, who wasn't doing great, and they would call me before I even left the parking lot, asking me to turn around and go back to the airport and fly for more days, so more than 9 in a row. Here's the thing. if I own my own airplane. Anyone who owns their own airplane, it's Part 91. And under Part 91, legally, I can fly my own airplane 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I think we can all agree that that would be unsafe if I never ever rest. But legally, under Part 91, I can do that. I can just fly. So the way this fractional company operated was in between the Part 135, which is 14 hours on, 10 hours off, and the Part 91, fly all the time. So because the airplanes were fractionally owned, which means the people buy a fraction of a jet, so they own it. So it's not like a charter company that owns the airplanes and then operates them, which is Part 135, which is the safe way to go. This fractional ownership jet company operated in between, okay? Because basically the people who were paying for the airplanes fractionally owned it, so they were pretending that that was Part 91. So it was at a time when they just really didn't have the FAA was not really on top of this safety stuff, and how this new way of operating a jet with this fractional ownership stuff really needed its own part to operate under, so that they couldn't just fly the pilots 24/7, 365. Okay. So there was a time during that airplane job where, so after I lost my job, I went to work for this company. So I was still flying jets. I love jets. I love airplanes. I love hang gliders. I love gliders. I mean, I love to fly. I love to fly everything I could fly, everything I've ever flown. And here's, you could probably feel the trigger coming. So this company, I actually fell asleep while I was flying with the other pilot. Woke me up because I was talking in my sleep, and that's when I knew, like, this is really unsafe. This is because we weren't getting enough sleep, and it was like days of not enough sleep, and then working more than 9 hours, and then they threaten your pay, and they would threaten, and because of the way they operated, it doesn't really matter. Anyway, it was just a very unsafe job, and I kept getting sick. So I'd have 9 days on, and then I'd have 3 off or 4 off, and as soon as I was off, I would get sick for like the entire time. And then when I was on, I was gaining 10 pounds because I was eating out of vending machines, and sometimes a 7-Eleven with those like hot dogs that go around and around and around for like 4 years until somebody comes along to buy it on Thanksgiving because no place is open. That's what I was eating. That's the crap we were eating. We were like starving at like midnight. We'd finally put the plane away. It would be midnight. We had to be back at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning to fly again, because they would really dick around with our duty day and stuff like that. And so I often found myself at the 7-Eleven. I often ate cheeseburgers out of vending machines. I have no idea how old any of that food was, and if it was safe at all. It's just freaking starving and just living on chips and soda because that was what was available on the airplane. Okay, so you get the idea. Just total crap. So this person at the bonfire, I don't even know how it came up. Airplanes came up somehow when I was saying, well, I used to work for this company, and he said, well, if you didn't like the job, then you should have just quit. And if you didn't like flying airplanes, then you should have let somebody else fly the airplanes. And I'm like, I love flying airplanes, but it's just not safe to fly it the way that they were doing. And he took it to a level, and he's like, well, you should have just bought your own airplane and flown that and charged people that way. And I'm like, it's over $1 million for an 8-passenger plane, and then, so clearly, and it was interesting because, like, a lot of people don't know about all the rules and regulations of aviation, and if they have questions, I am happy to answer them, and if they have any kind of humility about, well, could you do this or could you do that? This person was telling me that I don't love flying airplanes. I know. I don't know what it sounds like. Okay, so that bothered me. So I was triggered. And now I'm going to show you what I do with. So when I'm triggered, so I'm going to show you what I do with it. So obviously I'm yawning, so that's clearing. And so the renegade yogi stuff, being a renegade yogi, it doesn't mean that I'm always going to be like peace, love, and joy all the time. You know, people are going to piss me off. But when someone pisses me off, they're just bringing something to my attention and to my awareness that my soul is ready to clear out. It's like whatever tweaked me there, you know, whatever tweaked me, it's not on this person who's ignorant of aviation. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all that this person was not humble. It doesn't matter at all that this person was telling me that that I must just not love jets. I must just not love flying, and I should have just bought an airplane and started operating, because that's like delusional. Like, he doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. The fact that somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about triggered me means that there's some brick in me that needs to be cleared. My soul has a block to love somewhere. It has something to do with this person is just pointing it out to me. So this person could have any face, any name, could be anybody, could be, you know, a relative or a friend. It doesn't matter who the person is. And what people tend to do is they'll look at it and say, well, this person pissed me off, so this person should change their behavior. And what the renegade yogi stuff and spiritual life coaching and all this stuff that I do, the way I live my life, isn't that everyone else should change. It's that this pissed me off, this tweaked me, this triggered me. You know, the word trigger used to trigger me, which is kind of funny. So I just want to tell you how I work with it. So it wasn't particularly clear which emotion exactly that I had, if it was anger, frustration, whatever, okay? So I don't know that yet. All I know is this person tweaked me. Now I put my spirit in charge of this process, okay? And I, you know, release that person from my mind. Like, I'm not pissed at him, happened to be a guy, I'm not pissed at him. Now he pissed me off, which means I get to work on myself. Yay, I get to work on myself, not I have to work on myself, or I need to work on myself. It's like I get to work on myself. I'm thankful in a way, okay, if you can understand, I'm thankful to this person who pointed out something to me. By triggering me, he pointed out something that pisses me off or bothers me. So he, in pissing me off, by accident, probably, I don't know, it doesn't even matter, because if it did it on purpose, the end result's the same. It's still helpful to me. So I'm using it to do my own work. So it's all happening in my highest best interest, whether I'm, you know, happy or, you know, uncomfortable, angry, whatever. So everything that's happening to me is happening for me. So he triggered me, he stepped on the toe, but it was already infected. So now I get to say, okay, what's here? All right. So I didn't clear any of this before I got on, because I wanted to show you what it looks like when I do this. So I get mad just like anybody. But I immediately put my spirit in charge. I immediately know and trust that my spirit, my soul, has chosen a classroom to teach me a lesson. And that's all this is. It's just a lesson. And what my soul is doing is using this trigger, you know, this tweak, to help me dissolve a block to love that I'm holding. So I'm holding some sort of block to love. I don't know what it is. I still don't know what it is, because I haven't processed anything before I got on this video. I'm very uncomfortable right now. My stomach feels like crap. I'm not happy. I know I'm laughing, but it's because I've never done this before, where I processed like verbally and like on a video. So I hope this helps somebody. So that's like nervous laughter. I'm very uncomfortable. My stomach does not feel good. My ego mind is telling me, just go lay down, go to sleep. My ego doesn't want to deal with this. my ego wants to make myself into a victim and a hero. So my ego will make all sorts of stories up and judgments against the person who triggered me. So my ego is telling me he's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about, he's arrogant, whatever. It doesn't matter. Yada, yada, yada. You get it. It's like my ego mind is giving me all these stories that I can choose from. Plenty of stories where I can feel like a victim and a hero at the same time. This is just my ego mind. My spirit is much quieter, and so I have to like calm myself down, ground myself enough to listen, to be able to hear, because I want to know what is the block to love. That's all this is. Getting pissed is a block to love. What is it? What is it? All right. So I'm making these cups, and so while I'm yawning, I just keep tapping. When you tap, you don't have to have that sentence. You could just say, I'm triggered. I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. The truth is I'm pissed, but I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. So the cough there, when I was doing that, that's a 5th chakra issue, which is communication, self-expression. So that's something else that's clearing. And if you've ever seen my videos, like a lot of times when I talk about the 5th chakra, the throat, I have a hard time recalling the whole, communication, self-expression. And right then, after I coughed, and now I'm going to address this, whatever the hell it is, I had an easier time recalling the words. All right? So that's how it goes. So there's a self-expression issue going on. Fine, I know that. I don't need to know anymore. I'm just going to deal with moving through it at the level. I already put my spirit in charge, so I'm going to move through it at the pace that my spirit sets, and I'm just going to accept the information as it comes. So the little cough, throat chakra, so communication, self-expression, okay, good. Keep going, go back to my tapping and my yawning. The truth is, I'm a little irritated. I still deeply, completely love and accept myself. I'm a little irritated. I'm a little irritated. And any doTERRA oil is going to work at this point. Like when you're triggered, like any oil, I'm telling you, like even an oil you hate is going to work. Any doTERRA oil you could use, like, if you're mad, you could use like Serenity, which would calm you down, or lavender. It works for everything. It's like a rose quartz of oils is lavender. But anything, because they all have the chemical compounds that are going to do something. Okay. I'm a little pissed. Now, under your boobs, under nipples, that's your anger point. And your liver your liver holds on to anger. Okay, and then, so I just close my eyes. I'm just seeing this blue color, this really rich blue, this beautiful blue. So I'm going to I'm just going to watch that. I just watch it. So this is like kind of like meditating. I would be through this right now if I wasn't trying to do a video and talking, by the way, but you get faster and faster at it. But I just wanted to show you what I do. Now, I can feel my shoulders like this. So I breathe in. I push them down because I'm in charge of this. I'm still tapping the anchor points and checking on my shoulders. My stomach feels much better now. Much, much better. Over here. So when I'm tapping on a spot, if I'm yawning my face off, I stay tapping. I just keep tapping and breathing on that one spot until I stop yawning, and then I move on. Right here. My shoulders feel a little better. Now I'm sensing some fear. There's some fear. And so now what's coming to me is fear that that's true. Fear that what he said was true. So as I'm tapping, as I'm calming my mind, through tapping and calming my mind, I get access to higher levels of intelligence. So as I keep calming, keep tapping, keep my spirit in charge, keep moving forward at the pace. I'm not rushing through this. I'm not trying to get rid of this anger. I'm not trying to get rid of this frustration. I put my spirit in charge, and then I'm just moving through the process. The less I try and speed through, the faster it goes. Most healing stuff is very ironic, irony is where all the lessons are. So I'm not trying to move through this quickly, which makes me move through it much quicker. I'm along for the ride, and I allow my spirit to teach me the lesson. So I let the teacher, my spirit, give me the lesson, the information, as it comes. So I don't let my ego mind tell me a story of, I'm so confused, I'm so mad, I'm so upset, da 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 da, he this, he that, story. No, I've decided once I get mad, I'm entering the classroom now, and my spirit is up on writing on the chalkboard. You're pissed, you're frustrated, or whatever, however it's coming. Now it's coming like, you're afraid. It's just, my spirit is just writing on the chalkboard right now. You're afraid that what he said about you not really loving flying might be true. That's all, So that's all that's happening right now. So that's the information right now. Okay, thank you for the information. So now I want to tap on my chest, because this is where your lungs hold grief. And so I just tap now wherever I want. And if I don't have like intuitive guidance of tap here, tap, then I would just run through the points again. And in normal tapping, you'd get your 0 to 10. It's called the SUD scale. You'd say, I'm angry, 0 to 10. How angry am I? And then you tap through, and then you could, and then you see if you went down. So you want to get below a 2 when you do that. So burping is also clearing. But the thing is, I'm not using tapping, just tapping right now. I'm using tapping as a tool in my toolbox for moving through this tweak, this trigger. So I'm not doing tapping the way I would do tapping if I was doing a session of tapping or just tapping. So now I'm yawning big right here. So I'm just gonna stay here. I don't need to know. I don't need to know the secret of my armpit. Why did the yawning start? Now my ego mind's telling me, oh, you're so tired. Just go to bed. You're just so tired. Go to bed. Just go to bed. You'll feel better. Go to bed. Because my ego doesn't want to keep moving forward with this processing. Because you know why? Because when I process this, I'm going to find out that I'm actually not perfect after all. I'm going to actually find out that I have fears that I am not comfortable with. I'm going to find out that I'm not the hero and the victim at all. And so my ego's like, go to bed. Go to bed, little hero, little victim. Okay. So now, if I had oils on my hand, I started this video while I was still triggered, so I didn't use my oils. But if I had them, I would have them in my hand, and I would just, at this point, inhale. Like a frankincense oil. If you have doTERRA frankincense, it's a very high vibrational oil. Rose and frankincense, I find, are the two highest vibrational oils for doTERRA. So, rose is really expensive, but frankincense is like freaking amazing. So you can drink 2 drops. That's another thing that I tend to do. I take 2 drops under my tongue whenever I think of it, or whenever I pass a bottle of frankincense. But it makes you very present and helps you like move through this stuff pretty quickly. And so the tension is on my back, like my back shoulder blade things. Okay, and now what's coming up is my son. And so what's happening is I love my son. I adore my son. I quit flying because of my son. And so what I'm becoming aware of now, what my spirit is writing on the chalkboard, is there's a little bit of resentment or a little bit of, So I didn't find the word yet, but I didn't find the word to tell you, but I felt the feeling. And so then I got this little bubble in my stomach, just came up and like up and, I don't know, burst, popped or whatever. But there was movement in my stomach. Okay, movement in my stomach. Doesn't have to be a bubble. But there was movement in my stomach, like validation, like, yep, you understand. That's what's happening. And resentment toward my son is not the word, but it's like I had to choose my son over flying. I chose my son over airplanes. Okay, I chose my son over airplanes, which I would do any time that I get faced with that. There's a little bit of tears in my eyes. I'm not like crying, but there's a little bit of emotion coming out right now. So I chose my son over airplanes. And now that I keep saying, I chose my son over airplanes, there's this anger. It's an ego mind. There's this anger. And again, it's not the person who triggered me's fault. Like, this anger is mine. He didn't make it. He didn't create it. It's not his fault that I have this anger right now. This anger is all mine, but my soul wants it to go. My soul's ready to get rid of this anger. And so now there's a little bit of sadness coming out. So like, it was like the anger was like hiding behind. Maybe the sadness was hiding behind anger. I guess that's what it is. So I wouldn't look, oh, and that's why, remember my back? Okay, so the back is where you put things you don't want to look at. So energetically, we put things on our back that we don't want to see, we don't want to look at, we don't want to deal with it. So remember when I said my shoulder blades? Okay, so that's the back, and I should have mentioned that at the time, but what I've been putting on my back is this sadness and anger that I had to choose my child over airplanes because I wasn't really, well, the ego story is I wasn't ready, but of course I was ready. I wish I had more children, but okay. So that's what I put on the back. So energetically, that's what I put on my back was I didn't want to see that I was mad and sad that I had to choose my child over airplanes and hang gliders actually too. Once my daughter was born, I never hang glided again. And that was my happiest place. And the last time I was at the hang gliding mountain, around the fire, and I just bawled. I just cried and cried and cried. I just cried because it was like my happy place. My two friends, Chad and Tom, were moving to Colorado and Ohio, reverse, but and I missed them, and I wasn't ready for that part of my life to go. Like, the three of us were the, like three amigos, and we all flew together and learned together and helped each other, just hung out together. It was like so perfect. And when the two of them were moving, it was all life as I knew it, which felt perfect, was over. So anyway, so there's a lot of sadness here that just wants to clear, sadness and little anger. And so now I'm becoming aware of I don't often throw tantrums out loud, but there's a tantrum that I throw in my head that I'm aware of right this moment. It's when my children are, their behavior is not good. And I think in my head, I let my ego mind tell me the story. Maybe I should never have quit flying, or maybe I should and I have said this, they say, because they want me to play with them all the time, of course. And I do play with them quite a bit, but so now I'm feeling compassion for myself. I'm moving through it faster than I can talk. But anyway, the thing is, so now I'm a Reiki master or whatever. So my hands are just like hot and right now, and just giving myself, this is the self-love position. So it's just giving me love, giving me Reiki, which is divine healing love. And always, I didn't say it in the beginning, when I'm in the divine, I'm in the center of the big, huge white spotlight of God, the big, huge white spotlight of the highest and holiest source creator energy, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it. And I really want to burp really, really bad. Really bad, I want to burp. So there's this big thing that's like ready to come out. And it sort of feels like I'm going to puke, but I'm not going to puke because it's It's not a puke thing, but it feels like I want to puke. But it's just clearing. So this is how I do it. It's faster if I can just focus. It's not chatty. And now there's some anger. Here's some anger. I'm really angry. I'm feeling angry. All right, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling really angry. But the thing is, I'm feeling it to release it. I'm not holding it. I'm feeling this anger, and this resentment, and this sadness, and this bitterness, but like anger. It's really angry. And I'm feeling it to release it. So my ego mind's going to tell me, don't feel that, don't feel that, don't feel that. My soul's like, just feel it. Go ahead and get rid of it. Come on, I'm just giving you information. It's just information. So I can feel angry, but I know I'm not angry because I'm not angry. I'm in a class right now. And I'm going through an uncomfortable exercise. And then more love for myself. And I know this probably looks easier than if you try and do it this way, like the first few 45 times. It's not going to look like this. But I promise if you keep doing it, this is what it turns into. And then you don't have the consequences to pay for like losing your mind, in front of your friends or, on somebody's spouse or whatever. And now I'm just feeling that I'm fine, and I'm fine. And so, so I'm making these cups because my friend Carly told me that I should. And so, okay, so what I felt mostly, I could use any of the feelings that I was tapping with, but I'm going to use frustration just for this example. So when I let my spirit gives me this feeling of frustration, and when I let myself feel that frustration, when I feel the healing feeling of frustration, and this is a HLC, a Holistic Learning Center from New Jersey. This is their feelings chart on page 56 of the book. I still haven't finished the class, but so I'm not completely certified, but I'm working with some people. So if I let my spirit give me this feeling in my heart, frustration. So if I feel my healing feeling of frustration, I put my spirit in charge, my spirit directed life, my spirit goes in charge of the whole process. I let my spirit tell me, go ahead, feel the healing feeling of frustration. Feel it. But it's feel to release. Remember, it's not going to stay forever. But the ego's like, don't feel that. You're going to be frustrated forever. You're going to smash something. You're going to lose your friends. Okay, so feel my healing feeling of frustration. Then I receive the holistic benefit of persistence. So by clearing out all that back crap, the backstory and the back crap, now I can go forward with what I'm doing now. So being a mother, doing videos, I have to take away that story of I should have just stayed flying, or I can go back to flying, because that has come up. I actually got offered a flying job, and I threatened my family with it. But by clearing this out now, I can keep persisting into this, where I'm a mom. Got to write these books. I'm writing like 5 books. I really want to get an Airstream. I want to write that. I want to write my books in my Airstream on 30 acres right on the ocean and all that. So if I feel my healing feeling of frustration, I'll receive the holistic benefit of persistence. So I can keep going, okay, instead of wallowing in the general feeling of dissatisfaction, which is, oh, I should have stayed a pilot, or I should go back to flying. Instead of, wallowing in the feeling of dissatisfaction and then resulting in the emotional block of judgment. Okay, so that judgment, I talk about judgment a lot, but judgment, judging things as good or bad, judging things as right or wrong, really sets you up to resist and create pain for yourself. So, I should probably just maybe do a short judgment video, but anyway, so that's how I handle my triggers, tweaks, and what have you. It's just a classroom. My soul's like, okay, time for class. Class is starting. Bell rang. Come on in. Come on in. And then just by putting your spirit in charge, knowing that everything is happening for me, not to me. It's just, so the soul chooses the lesson, and then the classroom can change. So this person at the bonfire said this thing, but if I didn't work with it now, then there would be another way for me to address the lesson. So my soul wants me to learn that lesson now. So it's easier to learn the lesson now, the first time I get triggered, than like I used to think of it as like, because before I really was onto it and doing things like this, I started noticing even when I was little that it feels like there's like a warning shot fired over the bow, and then the lightning bolts get closer and closer until it's like, and it's like if you pay attention when the cannonball flies, when it just grazes your hair, then you can deal with what are you trying to make me do? What now? What? So you just put your spirit in charge. You enter the classroom, voluntarily, and then you just work with it. Okay. So that's it. And so, I'm going to do a video about these cups because there's a lot of crap on there to go through. But I was trying to tell my friend, I'm like, imagine like, you're perfect and there's nothing to trigger you or make you upset in any way, shape, or form. And you live your life like with that in that experience of like, the thing I used was rain. Like imagine like, so rain in Seattle was like, it's raining again. But rain in Arizona, when I was in school in Sedona, Arizona, they were like, thank you, you brought the rain, thank you. I was like, yeah, no problem. So, rain in Arizona was like basically sacred. And then rain in Seattle was like, So, when, if you can live your life like it's a game, like I'm talking about, it's just a game, okay? And I'm setting up that context for you so that you can operate with the highest level of empowerment. I'm not trying to like make people suffering less than it is, because it is. I mean, there are a lot of freaking people really suffering now. Not so many in this country as I see, in other countries. And that may have been a passive-aggressive jab, because that's one of my things. When like people keep trying to make their existence in this country more and more perfect, by doing what they're doing, they're not helping themselves or anybody else. But that's their free will choice, and I respect it. Of course, I still love them anyway, and I forgive them. And I bless them in their fighting and their angry, arguing, fighting, name calling. I have to bless that, otherwise it hurts me. So, okay. So if you can imagine that you're perfectly clear, like perfectly clean, and then you experience rain. Let's say you're outside, you experience rain, you're like, wow, what's that? It's water falling from the sky. Well, that's interesting. But there's no judgment on it, and there's no good or bad, and it's like, wow. And you just enjoy the feeling of that. And when you stop enjoying that, you can go inside the house and get out of it. And then if you get cold, then you put on a blanket. So it's like, you don't react to the rain. And hopefully you understand that I'm saying rain, but you could fill in the blank with anything. So you don't react to whatever it is. Somebody's up there. You don't react to it. You experience it. You feel the feelings that your spirit gives you. You feel the feelings. You feel them to release them. and then you go back to being clean, clear. So then you're clear, and you don't have any lenses to look through for the next experience. So then the next experience can show up, and you're always like this newborn baby type of, wonder what this is, I wonder what this is, I wonder what this is, I wonder what this is. So you feel you put your spirit in charge. As soon as you get like a feeling, you get a feeling and you're like, okay, my spirit's communicating with me. Okay, spirit first, my spirit directed life, put my spirit in charge. What am I feeling? Okay. Feel it, get it, what is this? Tapping, whatever, feel it. But set the intention, I'm feeling it, to release it, so that your ego can't go on telling you all these stories, how you're gonna be sad forever. Don't cry, because you're gonna feel sad forever. It's like, that's not true. My spirit's in charge. I'm sad right now. Sadness. If I feel my sadness, I'll receive the holistic benefit of an ending instead of wallowing in abandonment and ending up in an emotional block of depression. All right, so that's just another one. So I'll go through that in some other video. But the thing is, when you feel to release, keep your spirit in charge, everything's happening for me, not to me. It's happening for me, not to me. I live in a perfectly evolving universe, because we create our reality, and our realities, the more of us that keep creating this reality. I know people are suffering. I know, but they're the people who are really suffering, like bad, like really bad. They're like kind of like at the bottom of the barrel, and then on top of them you have like people who are like, I have a hangnail. I have this hangnail, and I think it's gonna bleed. And it's like they're on top, and it's like we need to get all those people like on track. Get up, get out, so then we can get to the really, really dirty work. The people at the real bottom who really need our help, So the more renegade yogis that there are in the world, the more we're taking responsibility for our own triggers and our own internal work and our own feelings. And we're just like, I'm powerful enough to handle my emotions. These emotions are just my spirit communicating with me. So I'm going to put my spirit in charge. I'm going to say, what's here? What do I feel? Feel it to release it. Set the intention. Feel to release. What am I supposed to learn? Okay. And then you clear that out, and now you're open and clean and clear for the next experience. And when you can do that, you can bring all your power, your energy to your single point focus of consciousness. You bring everything to one place, and then you're not divided. So when you bring all your energy to one place, then you can listen deeply. And then you can manifest big things. And then you can help so many more people. But you have to take care of yourself. I know a lot of people, they have these big dreams. They want to take care of like chunks of people. And I love that they do. I love that they want to. But they can't get out of their own way, because they're triggered, and they're sabotaging themselves 10 different ways, and they keep wanting to help other people, help other people, but it's like, dude, you're so screwed up. You've really got to take care of yourself. All right, so that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. Hopefully this makes sense. Love you, and happy triggering, happy tweaking. Love you. Good night.